We have more One Piece to read. Oh my God, I still can't believe the three chapters we read last night. I still can't believe that they were real chapters that I actually read of the series One Piece, which I have been reading for the majority of my life now. That we are learning these things, that we're seeing these characters, that we're going to these places and seeing these events. And what blew my mind the most wasn't just reflecting on those and realizing that they really, really happened, but trying to get my head around the fact that we're not even caught up yet. We're not even close to getting caught up. Like we still have like 5 chapters to read before we're in sync with the rest of the world. So I'm just gonna get right back at it. Like all day today, I've just been. Oh, I can't wait to read One Piece. I can't wait to read One Piece. It's a level of excitement that is very nostalgic for me. That takes me back to my earliest days of reading this series and the amount of anticipation I had. So I think the peak of the hype has passed. With this chapter called Oden's Return, I think we're going to have Oden returning to Wano and kind of wrapping up the missing gaps in our timeline. There's not too many mysteries with what happens there. He's going to come back, see that Wano has fallen into ruin at the hands of Kaido, and then, of course, that scene first referenced so long ago about Odin being boiled alive, I think is going to play out for us once more in a much more emotional context. Now that we know this full story, now that we've come to love Odin as a character. So, first in our cover page, we see the Beige family running off after these strange Marines. They're hauling off poor Chiffon. Um, Giotti, one of the main fire tank pirates officers. We see him almost all the time. Any of them are involved with his machine gun arm, looking like White Barrett from Final Fantasy VII. He seems quite strong. I feel like him versus some rando Marines. I'm betting on him, but we'll find out. It looks like another fire tank pirate has already been incapacitated. One of the ones probably guarding Chiffon. So they are strong, these Marines. And ahead of them, there seems to be some woman with like a long sword. I don't know who that is. And a Marine not wearing the typical uniform either next to her. I assume they're Marines just because they're walking with the Marines and everybody else is running around and panicking. I don't know. And then we also see someone kissing. Another crazy kisser. The one that was misleading us into thinking Lola was nearby. Okay, we're going to plunge ahead. When Roger returned from Laugh-Tale, which I still can't quite get my head around. See, my computer is named Raftel. My computer has been named Raftel for like a long time. Actually, this computer isn't. It was my previous computer that was named Raftel, but that was a computer I had for a very long time. This computer's name is Desktop 5VV1D7. We're gonna change that right now. Here, you can watch me change my computer's name. Computer name. How come I can't change the computer name? Oh, here we go. Computer name, Laugh-Tale. Before it was Raftel, but now because we know the proper localization, we know what Roger was. Oh, I gotta restart my computer. All right, well, whatever. Who cares? Um, now that we understand. But yeah, I had a computer named Raftel for like probably close to a decade. It just got upgraded various times and stuff. It doesn't matter. When Roger returned from Laugh-Tale, Red Taro came to him and asked him something, only to shed tears afterward. What could that be? Something that they left behind on Laugh-Tale? The big egg, perhaps, had finally returned to its home, and Sanji. Oh my God, Shanks is sad because he'll never get to see what was inside. I don't know. The birth of the King of the Pirates caused a stir around the world, prompting the Navy to leap into drastic action. The man who achieved wealth, fame, and power, the King of Pirates, Gold Roger, That's Gol D. Roger. So Roger himself was trying to emphasize the D. It was waves of kind of censorship and misreporting and the government's influence on the press that made that lost to time, such that only old farts like Dr. Kureha remembered when he was called Gol D. Roger. Remember that? Remember how way back then during Drum Island, she was like, Gold Roger? Don't you mean Gol D. Roger? And we were like, whoa, what does that mean? Because we got Monkey D. Luffy and stuff. And then it's been like 900 plus chapters since then. Well, it's probably been about 900 chapters since then. Or I'm sorry, 800 chapters since then. Because the Logue Town, that was chapter 100. Am I right? Something like that. Anyways, we still don't know. We still have no idea what that means. Just the will of D. People with the name of D. What the heck does any of this mean? At this point I can understand why the world government would want to hide your name. Like, they know, because they read the poneglyphs and stuff, but we don't know. We don't know. The world at large referred to everything that Roger gained as the One Piece. So that wasn't, this is a common misconception, I guess, is that when he goes, I left everything in one piece, that was naming the treasure, that's where the treasure's name originated from. But he never actually says One Piece when he's being executed. I think that was like a translation thing. But I don't know, I always thought that was cute, One Piece. And then that led to a lot of other people, a lot of the same sort of people that are like, I bet the treasure is friendship. Are also like, oh, I bet it's like a pun, and the treasure is one piece of gold. But no, I just think it's like a sick name. It's a name befitting of a series so long running and iconic in that it conveys so little, and yet it's so important to the plot. It's important to the plot, and yet it's so rarely discussed that when you have scenes like Luffy telling Kid and Law, but I'm gonna be the one that finds One Piece, it just feels so shocking. Okay, so we see all the pirates freaking out. We see the Marines freaking out, getting an order, find Roger now. Do you really need such an order? Isn't that kind of going without saying at this point? But they're like, all right, fine, we're going to find Roger. Other pirates. This guy on the left kind of looks like Captain T-Bone, doesn't he? He's got the thing sticking out of the hair. Whatever. Looking back at it now, it's all been miraculous. See how far we came once I already knew I was going to die. I have nothing but gratitude to you all. Uh-oh. He's getting nostalgic. Rascal, rascal. Look, Buggy's like popping off. Like he's literally popping his torso off. So he's already got the chop chop fruit. What a fun crew they had. But this might be where he announces his intent. I'm going to turn myself in. Lay it on us. I'm hereby disbanding the Roger Pirates. And the way they go, ah! I feel like they kind of knew. They saw it coming. Meanwhile, down in Fishman Island, the birthing is at hand. Our sovereign will soon be born. In a distant sea, the whales are delighted in anticipation of the day the two sovereigns shall meet again. Been waiting for so long, it's almost here, and surely all will go well this time. Just 10 until the birth, another 15 to grow. I was talking out there. Certain that voice is speaking the truth. Someone will be born and eventually surpass us. So, could this be referring to Luffy? Does the time work out? Like, they're all thinking that it's the Mermaid Princess, but they're actually talking about two sovereigns. In another distant sea, the whales are delighted in anticipation of another sovereign being born. Does the timing work out? I'm a little lost now as to how far back in time we are. Everyone leapt forward, what, 20 years? So the end of Odin was 20 years ago, right? That's when they burned down the castle and Toki used her time powers to jump 20 years into the future. So that happens 20 years ago. Luffy is like 17 through most of the series, and then after the time skip, he's 19. So I'm not gonna do math. The One Piece they call it. I wonder who will find it. That'd be my son, of course. Don't have one. So this is before Ace is born. Ace is like 19 or something during most of the series and 21 after the time skip. He's 2 years older than Luffy, I think. Oh man, I don't want to do math. There's an answer to this. Someone tell me the answer. So Ace hasn't been born yet. Even though he's going to die immediately in the very near future and plans on just giving himself into the Marines to be executed, Roger still wants to foster a child. Seems wildly irresponsible. You can see why Ace had kind of a chip on his shoulder about this guy. Overall, I think they've done a good job characterizing Roger as a friendly guy, a nice guy, a charismatic guy, but maybe not the most considerate guy. Someone who has definitely left a wake of devastation behind him, who allows total hotheads like Odin to just run off the ship and pillage his heart out. Someone that you can understand why there's this growing resentment of the world over for his first-hand actions, beyond just the piracy that he inspired. I don't know, an interesting character, and literally always grinning. It's interesting to contrast him and Luffy, because Luffy we see again and again kind of drawn a parallel as like the next Roger. Someone who has the same charisma as Roger, the same ability to ally people to his cause as Roger. This is something that Whitebeard noticed. But there are contrasts between their characters. I think Luffy has more empathy. Luffy seems to care more about what's happening to other people. Alright, so they're heading out. We're gonna head to Wano. I intend to meet with Whitebeard before I die. Should I have him send Izo back to Wano? No, he's become very careful about his ship. Tell him, you take care of Waikichi for me. I'll do. So that's the scene where Roger and Roger and Whitebeard talk about Raftel and One Piece and stuff. The scene that's flashed back during the Paramount War. It wasn't their previous meeting. They actually did meet once again before he died. Roger said something to his oldest confidant, Raleigh, the man they called Dark King, and he covers his face. It must be, this is where Roger told him, I'm planning on being captured. I'm planning on giving myself up. Just something that Raleigh talked to the crew about on Sabaody. And then he stepped off the ship. He had a whole bunch of medicine from the ship Dr. Crocus. His disease was in its final stages. But this was a man's farewell. We were utterly stoic. Not a tear was shed. Oh! But of course, we see that they're all bawling their eyes out. Wow, what a moment of unreliability in narration. Up until this point, Odin has been wildly sincere, explosively sincere. His truest, deepest emotions of everything that's happening overflowing into this narration. But here, just in this one instance, he hides his tears. It's interesting, these tiny little gaps that appear sometimes in these flashbacks between the narration and what's being depicted. Often there's even dramatic irony where we learn things about that the narrator doesn't know, that is reflected in the panels but isn't reflected in their narration. The seas around Wano. How are they going to get back in? Brutal as ever. Piles of wrecked ships that tried and failed to get in. Hey, wait a minute. We saw some of the Oro Jackson here. The egg is still here. Egg confirmed to have returned from Raftel. What does it mean, though? Egg confirmed. Where did that egg end up? What the heck is in that egg? Is it Birdo from Mario? It's kind of what it looks like. Okay. If you steer into the wrong rapid currents, your ship will be smashed to pieces without getting any closer to Wayno. Until this point, there is a purpose to this country being closed. And now we must open its ports. Before the day that Joy Boy appears... Whoa. Okay, so there is a Joy Boy in the past. There's a prophecy of a sovereign being born. And now there's talk of this future Joy Boy. Probably Luffy. And the previous Joy Boy, I imagine, had that gigantic straw hat that's in the basement of Marijua. Marijua, I don't know how to pronounce it. Mari Joyce? Mari Joyce actually kind of sounds nice. Maybe it's Mari Joyce. So Luffy, I think, is this next Joy Boy. The reincarnation of Joy Boy. Something like that. It's not as though I'm dying, so of course we parted with a smile. We all know that we'll meet again one day. They're just bawling their eyes out. Look, it's the Viking guy again, with the big bushy beard. So interested in him. And this guy with the sailor's hat that smokes a pipe. All these Roger Crew people. And it's like so tantalizing. Like we see how cool they are. We see these little glimpses of their personalities. We get this wonderful sense of the fun they had as a crew. We might never see them again. I don't know. Like, all of these characters, I assume there's no reason for Oda to just kill them off. These are all just cards in his hand that if he wants to introduce a character that says, hey, I used to be on Roger's crew, that's super hype because we can go back to these chapters and be like, there he is. But he doesn't have to do that. For all we know, this is the last encounter we'll have with these characters as well. Never named. We never saw their powers. We never saw how strong they were, how virtuous they were, how fun they were. But we understood anyways. We understood the magnitude of those qualities, even if we'll never get to witness it firsthand. And talking about dramatic irony, Odin saying, it's not as though I'm dying. Well, we know what happens. He meets up with the family, Toki, Momonosuke, Hiyori. Momonosuke is looking about the age that he does now. You know, he aged a little bit since the time leap, right? He had his whole adventure being kidnapped by Doflamingo and his separation from, oh, you know, Samurai Man. Why is his name eluding me right now? Kinemon. So it does definitely seem like the final stages of the flashback are starting. How big you are, Momonosuke. Proper manners, too. Welcome back, scoundrel. So they're actually, like, quite legitimately pissed, I think. Kawamatsu, the beloved Kappa, beloved by all, especially me, does seem to be grinning, but it seems to be, like, a kind of a mischievous grin of, like, oh man, you're gonna get it now. Because as we see from these smokestacks, Wayno is already in a world of hurt. Everyone is cheering his return. They'd be angrier. Should be grateful to your wife, Lady Toki. A woman of great character. Once her sickness passed, she went into town and helped the people with their work. She never put on airs for being wife of the daimyo. She worked with and sweat everyone else, told exciting tales of your adventures. They're beloved in Kuri. So even though these guys might be a little pissed that Odin abandoned them, the other people not really putting those things together, like still thinking that Odin is overall a virtuous person, not really thinking what he could have done to save them had he been there, right? Like there's a disconnect there. They probably aren't aware of this whole succession drama, that the very fact that Orochi, who's responsible for all this corruption, only has that role because Odin wasn't there in Wayno. Number of people disparage your willful wares has dwindled down to nothing. This is the modern reputation of Odin. This is how Odin is looked upon by the people of Wayno today as well. Dogstrom is here. I guess the stowaway cat and mouse have returned to Wayno. And Panda Man is in Wayno too. Look, top right panel, far right bottom. It's our boy. It's Panda Man. Thank you. Only because you love you so much, Odin. I wish I had game! No, Raizo! What about that Kunichi? What about that other girl ninja? She's cool. You guys have similar builds, for better or worse. I think you're quite compatible. I wanted to speak to you about Izo. Dog and cat. Say it's okay. Izo remains in Whitebeard's crew. And we saw Izo in Whitebeard's crew during the Paramount War and stuff. I think she's doing quite well. What about Denjiro and Ashura? Didn't see them a year ago either. Ashura's leading the Yakuza and bandits in Kuri to make sure they don't go wild. Well, wild, I think, is just the way of the Yakuza and bandits. So we saw that evolve into modern Ueno as well. Ashura now kind of a warlord in the lawless lands of Ueno. Still, of course, absurdly strong, able to go toe-to-toe with Jack, but rounder. Significantly rounder. Denjiro's been wandering all over Ueno, borrowing and paying back money. Holding back brigands, borrowing money. These are not the signs of a healthy country. Another reason that everyone is delighted about your return. Yes, so that's, I guess, the other perspective they can take. They're not thinking of Odin as the abandoner, as someone who left them in their time of need, but someone who returns to them in their time of need. The savior. We know, tragically, that this glorious return is not as effective as the townspeople are hoping, but you can understand where their hope comes from. It's kind of tragic, isn't it? After you left the country, we did our best to manage Kuri in the absence of its daimyo, the assistance of the populace. Family really was in poor health then. That I was unable to be present at his deathbed. The real problem is the shogun's successor. To our Shargan, your father, Shogun Sukiyaki, recommended none other than Orochi. The more I heard, the more confused I was. Orochi was like a brother to me now. All I did was lend him money out of consideration to Yasui. And he never once returned a single coin of it. On top of that, Orochi was descendant of the Korozumi clan that caused the terrible incident in the past. Now I find that Korozumi Orochi is occupying the position of shogun as my proxy. So naively, maybe people are thinking, oh, well, this is just settled now. Odin's back, he'll take the throne. GG. And Odin can overhaul all of the terrible reforms that Orochi made and drive these foreign polluters out of the country. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. But they are naive because they think Orochi's ascent to the throne was legitimate. They believe these manipulations that Orochi was a brother to Odin, and that in the interest of brotherhood, he will peacefully abdicate the throne. So I'm sure you saw on the way here a number of weapons factories in each region, full of supervisors who manage the labor therein. And here we can see some of Kaido's crew in their characteristic BDSM / beast, not bestiality, that's gross, but just beastly outforms. By the Shogun's own edict, the men have been put to work at the factories on wages too cheap to live on. I want to bang a sniveler like Orochi. Problem is, Orochi has the support of a pirate by the name of Kaido. He is as strong as a monster. Orochi's taken advantage of that to do whatever he wants. If you're to fight back against Orochi, oh, the children can't be present for this. But a year ago at a weapons factory, there was a man who refused to work. He and his family were executed. Had the last straw. Had enough of Orochi's barbarity. In anger, we took up our swords and marched to the flower capital to put a stop to Orochi, but in the meantime, Kaido's followers snuck into Kuri behind us, infiltrated the castle, and threatened the life of your future heir to the throne, Lord Momonosuke. Oh, so that especially is why they wanted Momonosuke out of the room. He may not even be aware that he was put in such a position. And knowing his pride, knowing that he has the pride of the Kozuki clan within him, he might have been ashamed that he could be used as a tool of manipulation. Ultimately, the enemies were driven back by Kawamatsu and Dogstrom, who'd been standing guard at the castle. Oh, I thought Dogstrom was with Roger and Odin the whole time. Weren't the dog and cat there? I don't know. I guess they were hanging out with Capital. Whatever. It was none other than Lady Toki who gave up her body to block the enemy's arrows when they first struck. She suffered a terrible wound to her leg. We exposed your family to mortal danger. I am so ashamed. I have no excuse. Oh. Protected our son. Did so well. How it must have hurt. Oh. Yeah, Odin is losing it. Look at his face. He's going full Kabuchi mode. Kaboot. What's it called? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. My knowledge is failing me. Kabuki. Is that what I said? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Kabuki. The theatrical art with the exaggerated face makeup. Odin is full in his Kabuki mode. See now how Orochi does things. Stay here and protect my family. Protect Kuri. And Odin grabs his swords. It's happening. We know how poorly this ends, but we don't know what incremental successes he may have had along the way. We don't know what he was actually able to accomplish before his tragic demise. But I feel like he's not going to go down without a fight. That is absolutely number one for sure. That is Odin in a T. Don't know all the ins and outs of the story. I just know this. A fool has taken control of Wano. A weak, cowardly fool, using the strength of a fearsome pirate, and taking advantage of this closed nation where no one can interfere, to turn our land into a hellscape. And here we see Odin at super fast max speed, not listening to anyone, booking it across the entire nation, from Kuri to the flower capital. Here we see him leap over a bridge. That feels so symbolic, because right now, in present times, so much of the rebellion initiative is failing because those bridges were destroyed, because those lines of supply were cut. Odin showing, I am transcendent. I need not anything. I need no bridge, no boat. I will fly from cliff to cliff. Badass. But what can he do? Suki Odin is on his way to the flower capital. Report to Lord Orochi. People are cheering. As I said, naively they believe he will simply become the new shogun. He rampages through the whole castle. Slews of bodyguards lay defeated. Shogun Orochi, come in. Kozuki Odin has entered the castle. The soldiers are wiped out. Flee, my lord. Odin, think carefully. Kaido's not gonna like it if you attack me. Think about what will happen to the country. Only after I've cut you in two. Oh no, I forgot. This guy's crazy. I love it. I love it. I love the idea that, like, Orochi's schemes. First off, look, he's in the exact position that he dreamed himself in when he thought about being shogun. You know, there's something kind of endearing about that, even though this guy's an absolute bastard, and I can't wait to see him get his in the present day. But, you know, all of his best laid plans, all of his schemes, the balance of power that he orchestrated with the looming threat of Kaido beating everyone into submission, all comes to naught if he's cut in half. and he completely forgot that Odin is not going to think reasonably. He's not going to weigh the pros and cons. He's not going to consider the ramifications for cutting down Orochi. He's just going to cut down Orochi. It's quite interesting. And now, but of course we know in present day, Orochi is whole of body, if not whole of soul or mind. So something's going to stop Odin in the very next chapter. What could it be? What could get there fast enough to disrupt this imminent attack? He's like 2 paces away. He's running at full tilt. He's a little tired, sure, because he's probably just run nonstop across an entire island and massacred everyone in his way. All right, we're going to find out. Next chapter is January 26th, so we're basically a month behind now. I think there's 4 more chapters to read until we're caught up. So I'm just going to keep plugging away at it. I hope you're enjoying reading these. I'm certainly enjoying recording them. The ultra mega super hype era of living in the time of Roger has passed. We return now to our normal Wayno flashback. But you got to remember the exact climax of this. If it feels like the hype has diminished, we're going to ride this next hype wave all the way into the war between the allied forces of Wayno Resistance and Kaido himself, which, I mean, if that sort of thing doesn't entice you, I don't know what does in the world of One Piece. So it's all good. It was already way more than I expected for the Wayno flashback to suddenly teach us so much about the deepest mysteries of this world. Um, so yeah, now we're getting back to like what I actually did expect, and that's hype enough. So please join me then. Bye bye for now.